one and all to the Amazon EU Masters. Look at you, you're so absolutely beautiful, sitting right beside the fantastically radiant Dagda. As we come into our second game of the day, it is going to be Vitality.Bee versus Giants, and I think this is going to be, again, a little bit of an opportunity here for Giants. They kind of need to win because otherwise they're going to be struggling to get that top two.
Yeah, and it has been a bit of a struggle for Giants. It feels like they haven't really been able to find their footing in a lot of these games. It feels like they're kind of playing to cover their losses in a lot more situations than actually being proactive. So I want to see them go back to, let's try and play through strong mid jungle. Let's lean into Keduii and Advienne and actually start to get this game rolling in our favor.
Yeah, it was a relatively close affair last time these two guys went out. But again, like you said, kind of finding their win condition, Giants seeing if they can maybe get a little bit more consistent with it. For Vitality.Bee, they don't want to be the only French team to not make it to the top two, let alone top seed. So they are still fighting for a hell of a lot of regional pride to show that the LFL is the strongest in the league. But we're already starting to see those picks and bans coming out straight away. The Renata, the Draven, the Azir, these very explosive take over the games kind of pick. And if Ryozaki's performance in our last game is anything to go by, that Vi is a deserved ban.
Yeah, it does also mean that you're probably setting up for Vitality.Bee to look towards some sort of Zeri pick for Jeskla. It's kind of been interesting to see how Vitality.Bee play though, because a huge amount of the resources tend to go from like Diplex into Szygenda on that top side, like with Skeanz and Jactroll, giving a lot of those resources up there. So it feels more so like for the Antonio is going to have his work cut out. Last time we saw these two teams face off, it was like the Gwen into the Ornn, and the Antonio was definitely on the worst for wear side of that matchup. So I think Vitality.Bee are going to be looking to exploit that once more.
Again, something you got to remember, we've seen Szygenda on the Fiora so far this split as well, or even in this tournament, to be perfectly honest, and he looks absolutely fantastic on it. And see what he's able to kind of work with, see what he's able to kind of move forward into. Giants will have the first pick right now with the Lulu banned. Again, the Yuumi is up and available, but we have seen blue side teams kind of move away from it, prioritizing the jungle pick over anything else. Whoa!
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it already, right? The Antonio looks far more comfortable on things like these tanks in the top side, but I think that's Giants now kind of having themselves drafted into a corner, because now you have to take the Ornn. You can get a good answer here for Szygenda, Fiora, when we saw the last times. Yuumi can still be taken, Zeri can still be taken.
Yep.
And even if you take the Yuumi, I think you still get one side of the matchup, right, where you can either go for the Sivir or the Zeri. You're still happy on either side of whatever way that works, but actually going to take the Poppy in these early stages.
And the Kalista as well. Renata's still a pick that you can go with. One of the biggest bot lanes we saw being banned pretty much across the board, no matter what region you were looking at. So really powerful kind of early game skirmishing coming out from Vitality.Bee. They're kind of recognizing, yes, you are a super tank, but you got to get to that 35-40 minutes. We're not going to allow you to get those ornaments going for the rest of your team. And already Giants recognizing they have to do something different. They're going to pick up the Tristana and they have to take away the Renata as well.
Yeah, which means a Nautilus could easily be the pickup here coming through for Jactroll. I think it gives a ton of engage, especially for something like this Tristana who wants to try and buffer that jump. It makes it a little bit more difficult to do so when you've got like both the depth charge and that anchor toss that could try and deal with. But we'll have to see, because could opt into... Okay, I was going to say something for a Diplex in the mid, but no, they want to make it sparkle in the bot lane.
They want to try and get something going for them. I love this as well, because then you think of an Ornn, you think of a Tristana, things that kind of rush in with those ultimates, trying to get as much damage down as they quickly can. That ultimate from the Taric will stop everything you want to do. So really nicely picked up here, in my opinion, here for Jactroll. And again, something that just fits very well in their composition. They're not pigeonholed into anything. They can still make it work with various different picks.
Yeah, also just the fact that a lot of the engage tools from Giants are very telegraphed, right? Ornn ultimate, the hostile takeover. This is where you can have that time to buy space with that Taric ultimate. Also can lean into how aggressive Jeskla wants to try and play in those early stages. Sets up Skeanz as well, because he now has a stun attached to the Poppy as well, so can work out incredibly well. Giants though are now starting to lean in towards those topside bans. If Fiora gone, imagine Gwen would be the next one to go as well, but you still have plenty of options for Szygenda if you want to go more towards that carry orientated style, which we have definitely seen more and more in that top side from Szygenda. And the other option then is to see what the hell Jiizuke and Diplex want to try and go with in this mid lane. Jiizuke always had a very wide champion pool, so I imagine we'll probably see topside for Vitality locked in here and keeping that counter pick for Diplex.
Yeah, man, there's no real need for them to kind of, go for it. You know what's going in top side. You can just see what Jiizuke picks, and they're hard focusing the bans onto him right now as well, with the Azir, the Orianna, the Ryze. Lots of things that you would kind of patent pending put onto Jiizuke as, some of his big champions throughout the years no longer available. with the Swain banned away as well. I think the side of Giants recognize this. They look, if Diplex gets something incredibly safe that he's incredibly comfortable on, there's not really a lot that, you know, Jiizuke can do against him, so they have to take away some of those big picks.
I think it's Sylas. Yeah, they're just, that's what I was kind of looking at. Ornn gone, Ryze gone, Swain gone. Like, this is prime Sylas territory. And the fact you've got, like, hostile takeover, the Ornn ultimate as well, you've got so many ways for Diplex to steal away what's good about Giants' composition and use it on their own side. So, really nice pickup here. And for Jiizuke, you're kind of like, what the hell do I do? Now, Jiizuke, always been a very strong Zoe player. Maybe you decide to go back towards that one. Not exactly like the best of matchups in lane, but you can then try and look for a lot of this, like poke and use the range of Tristana, use the range of Zoe, and have a lot of that non-committal engage. But this could also be an answer if they want to go towards the Veigar, but we'll have to see exactly. I mean, again, Jiizuke has always been someone who has a ton of champions in his pool.
Yeah, he's been around for so long. Again, remember, you know, the big run he had, of course, was I believe it was 2018 or maybe 2019 Worlds with Vitality, and it looks like the Taliyah might be the one here. Again, it's a very high priority pick. It doesn't give the Sylas over a massive AoE ultimate, which I do like to see, but all the way down towards the end of the picks, we actually completely forgot about the cat. So Yuumi might be locked in here, and again, just kind of having a powerful bot lane.
We got the Taric. Just hope for it. It's fine.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Taric. I'm sorry, I haven't seen him in so long.
It's more going to be to figure out what Szygenda wants to go with on this top side. You could end up actually going for something like this Sejuani for Szygenda if you wanted to. Good in the matchup. You've got like a lot of melee champions on the top side, but as we already said, Szygenda prefers to kind of play that more carry-orientated style, so going to take the GP, going to make things a little bit more uncomfortable for Giants in these team fights with having to dodge away from the barrels, the cannon barrage, and you've got good follow-up to help out Diplex when he tries to go for these flanks and engages. So overall, Vitality.Bee have a very strong mid-game composition they can try and play through on this bottom side of the map and play for, like, you know, dragons around that 20 to 25 minute mark. Whereas when you're looking across, for Vitality.Bee, for Giants, I think their big one is going to be how well can they try and play through Maxlore and Jiizuke in this mid lane? Can they be a bit more proactive and then lean into side lanes? Because it definitely feels like they have the stronger mid jungle at the moment.
Yeah, it really does. I will say, a little part of me was maybe thinking there was a Taric jungle in there with a Poppy top. But, you know, it's not that kind of a game. You're still looking to get that further.
Yeah. That meta can go to hell. I never want to see that meta again.
I mean, I'm not saying I enjoyed it. I'm just saying that I enjoy seeing it once every 7 years. You know, it's just kind of one of those things that pops up. It's really cool for a game, and then you move on with our lives. But, yeah, again, like you said, lots of ways of dealing with Giants engage. And it is going to be on Giants to kind of, I suppose, just kind of figure out how to contain this bot side. We've seen it so many times here for the side of Vitality.Bee that they're very happy to kind of, you know, let Szygenda do his own thing and just kind of, you know, work around the map as a big 5-man unit.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big one here, is like Szygenda even opting in towards the first strike. He really wants to try to poke out the Antonio, scale into that late game and be the late game insurance for Vitality.Bee, because, I mean, you look at Diplex mid game, incredibly strong off of 2 items, Jeskla as well. You've got the ability to play very aggressive, with Jactroll being able to give that invulnerability across to Skeanz, to Diplex, even to Jeskla. So I definitely think these 15 to 25 minute fights are going to be very strong for Vitality.Bee. It's Giants who are going to have to make the difference, though.
Yeah, you wanted to go for the handshake, but it went for a handshake. Guy puts his thumb up, and you get this awkward kind of interaction where you're looking for one thing and they're looking for the other. It happens to all of us, but I think Vitality.Bee will be happy with that. I like the idea, though, coming in from Giants. If a very powerful level 1, if you can get the handshake off, you can just kind of jump over maybe with Keduii. So we'll see what they end up working off of it now as we work towards the rest of the game. It is going to be Wukong starting on that top side of the map, and Jeskla thinking like maybe if someone gets lazy, he could be kind of there to capitalize.
Yeah, I think it's more so just to make sure that there's no like funny business coming out where they try to sneak in for a late invade on towards the blue buff, but all is going to be bog standard here. Skeanz going to start on this top side, and traditionally we've seen Skeanz playing very heavily around Szygenda in this top side across EU Masters. It's kind of been interesting to see how they've nearly been counter meta, right, where you'll take these picks for Jeskla that like the Zeris and the Sivers, but instead actually lean in towards Szygenda in the top side a lot. It feels like in this game, though, with the Gangplank in top lane, with Jeskla on this Kalista, it'll be much more of a bot focus here for Vitality.Bee and seeing how they can enable this Kalista.
So they're going to go, and again, this is why we've seen the Kalista just so powerful. The level 1, and honestly, even just level 2 as well, so difficult to really deal with here. for any bot lane, to be perfectly honest. And the thing is, you take the Tristana as something that can counter it. You jump on, you get such a powerful level 2, you maybe go to try and make something work there, but you can just see how respectful the Giants bot lane has to be, because if they get caught out this early on, it's lights out for this bot lane. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, good handshake there from Advienne will keep that bot lane safe, but yeah, you have to be so careful as well, because Jeskla and Jactroll will have so much control, it can be very threatening then for Jiizuke in the mid lane, because if Jactroll moves up, he starts to give stuns across the Diplex. You gotta dash away from both the Szygenda duct and also the stun coming through from the from the Taric. It can be very hard to try and play around it. Skeanz though, we talked about him playing around bot side, they're looking for the dive.
Oh, that's a great handshake, though, to try and stop this one, but another great heroic charge onto him, but he's not quite going down. That pot ticking was enough to keep him alive, but they might keep going for the dive here. I will say, you do have the Wukong coming in. Maxlore not looking exceptionally healthy, though, and needs to be very careful what kind of fight he takes.
Yeah, Skeanz still has the flash, still trying to see if he can get onto Keduii, but there it is.
Oh, flash in, and without the handshake to respond, he knew he was going to be fine, but Skeanz might have gone a little bit too far forward, and he will pay for it with his life, so it ends up being a 1-for-1, but you got the AD carry, and that means that they're not picking up farm. As I say that, what a handshake, what a turnaround. Giants find out an advantage, and that is definitely not worth it for Vitality.Bee.
Great play from Advienne. They had Jiizuke roaming down with the push in mid, and just barely connects with that handshake to set up for the kill. So that'll be 2 kills now for Maxlore, and we talked about this mid jungle being kind of terrifying for Giants. Well, you just got a massive influx of gold for that exact spot on the map.
Really nicely done here, Diplex. He's going a little bit too far forward. No flash here for him now, which means he's going to have to go back in. And Dagda, what is going on? Giants have woken up, but they've chosen violence in this game.
Giants are looking fantastic at the moment. Like, this is definitely sad. I think Vitality.Bee set things up really, really well, but the individual plays coming through from Giants are stepping up huge. Maxlore comes down, Skeanz is overextended, so they get to pick up the kill here, but again, Advienne, what a play with the handshake. Like, just about spots out Jeskla. Jeskla has the flash, but just doesn't expect to be hit by it, and immediately you can see Maxlore with the flash to follow up.
Really, really nicely done. And like you said, it's giving resources to the 2 people you want to kind of give them for. The Dazzle will land, but again, very difficult now that you have got level 3 upwards here for the Tristana and the Renata. So this is where the matchup can get a little bit easier. You've got perma pushing with the passive on your W. You've got ways of making this hard for the Kalista, so you can't take over this bot side. So Vitality, they're changing up the script a little bit. They're saying, all right, we're not going to play towards the bot side. We're going to try and catch people out in their own jungle top lane.
And it's interesting to see that Jactroll hasn't opted in for the tier early, because most of the times we see it, Taric, he'll go for this early tier, so then you can have a bunch of the healing that's there and just kind of use that to bypass a lot of the early stages. But instead opting in towards the boots, it means he's going to want to try and land these stuns.
Oh, speaking of landing stuns, Jiizuke now in a little bit of trouble. Does have the flash should he need it, but Phase Rush Poppy comes in, and as quickly as that, she's out. So now Jactroll maybe thinking he can go for something, but again, good warding here from Giants, so not to be outdone. They know they haven't got the reset from their bot side, so they're being a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, Jeskla with a good freeze on bot, but this has been something we've seen a lot from Vitality.Bee, not even just this split, but back in spring, was how mobile Jactroll was in the map and trying to link up with Skeanz in these early stages to try and play around mid lane, but not able to find it just yet, and it's still just a slight golden kill lead over towards Giants. And I'm curious to see now as Jiizuke has hit 6 if they want to have him TP back into lane, push that mid, and then start to lean into bot side, because Jeskla has set up this nice slow push on bot, but that could easily turn back to bite them if Jiizuke starts to roam into bot side.
Yeah, you'll have the access to the Weaver's Wall now, so definitely something you need to be careful of. And again, good moves here from Vitality.Bee to make sure they're not being outdone. As I say that, we will see a flick forward coming in, because he brought him into the waiting arms of the Wukong. Cyclone used by Diplex in defense, but I'm loving that Maxlore is just kind of calling Skeanz in every single one of his movements, saying, look, wherever you're going to be, I'm going to be with you. I'm a shadow this game.
And that's the thing, he's got the Sheen, he's got the double longsword, he's dealing a lot of damage, and he hasn't even hit 6 yet. Like, this only gets worse when he gets access to that Cyclone as well, so definitely in that jungle matchup, we already talked about it, like, Maxlore and Jiizuke have the control they need, and they have the rise on bot lane.
They are looking for a very long flank, or maybe they're looking to just try and catch out the Poppy, so Maxlore going to walk in here hand in hand with Jiizuke, not quite able to steal away the big wolf, but we'll get a little one instead. So not getting the big dog, but getting a bit of a puppy off the end of it. You know what? We all love puppies.
Yeah, I mean, I love puppies, but I don't love what's happened to Keduii on the bot side. Like, Keduii right now, because of this big freeze that Jeskla and Jactroll have had for so long, is falling massively far behind. And that's why I was kind of looking at Maxlore and Jiizuke going, boys, you need to break this. Like, you can't have Keduii falling this far behind, but now they're only starting to move down.
Here we go. The heal comes out straight away. They jump in. The exhaust there on the Keduii. There's the Weaver's Wall, but he doesn't get the positioning right. And now you've got Maxlore coming in here with Jiizuke. Still no level 6 here on Maxlore. Now he finally has it. No flick back, but they got the flash out of him. And one more auto attack is good enough. They tank the turret absolutely perfectly. And that is what you wanted to see. Maybe a little bit late, but better late than never.
Just about able to escape, but Diplex is on the way. Resets do come through, and nice timing from Giants as well. No cannon barrage on Szygenda for that play meant that he wasn't able to try and follow up. So Vitality.Bee ended up falling afoul of this play on bot side and looked good to start off with, right? Jactroll gets damage onto Advienne. He's taken very low. Keduii immediately exhausted, but this is where Vitality.Bee, because they think that Jiizuke is going to get over the wall, they back it up, which actually buys enough time then for Giants to just brute force their way underneath. The level up for Jiizuke as well just about keeps him alive, and that could have been so much worse on both sides for Giants.
Level up for Jiizuke and a level up for Maxlore. Just perfect. Little small moments like that. Getting that extra little bit of XP means so much. And now you're at a 2-0 Taliyah, 2-0-2 Wukong, who's now sitting himself on top of this Rift Herald. So this starts to accelerate the game that little bit more. Starts to put this in a bit of a bad situation for Vitality.Bee, because the Wukong is always going to be able to outdo the poppies. So how do you get back into this? How do you change up the script?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, right? And for Giants, they are kind of happy to have this going in their favor. At the moment, Maxlore has the Rift Herald. They can try and put that down into the bot side as well, continue to spike up Keduii. They can look to try and break mid with Jiizuke if they want to, like lean in towards this dragon on bot side. And again, for Giants, like, this would then force them onto a 2-2 with Giants and Vitality.Bee both sitting there, like opening up the opportunity for them to cause some major issues for the final LFL representative.
And don't forget Zero Tenacity. They're looking at this going, go Giants, go. They need UOL to win every single game, go 6-0, and then they need Giants to beat Vitality. At that point, then you end up with a 2-4 tie between Zero Tenacity, Giants, and of course Vitality.Bee. We go to a 2-match tiebreaker. So lots of Ultra League fans. If you're an Ultra League fan in the chat, you need to be knowing Giants are your horse in this race. You need to be making sure they win this. You guys can continue to go through that chance.
Also, just to try and get another Super League representative through as well. Heretic's already taken one of those spots, but we're going to have to see if they can manage his top side.
Top side, there is the knock up into another one, into another one. It's like a bounce house here. The Antonio will fall down, but you've gained so much off of that play. Now we can see what Vitality.Bee can maybe try and cross map. The handshake doesn't land, which means they won't be able to get any more damage off the Skeanz. But with a Rift Herald now up on top side, this could just be straight up the tower because it's still a Wukong with Sheen.
Yeah, I don't know if Maxlore wants to solo take the gold. I mean, it would be a very big monkey, but I don't know if that's actually the play they want to try and go for. Diplex, though.
Diplex looking to try and make something work on the Jiizuke, but not quite able to get it. Looks like Maxlore has decided he is the carry now, and he shall be taking all of his wares.
Yeah, but it does mean that Vitality.Bee are happy to continue to play around this bot side. Jiizuke out of the question. Diplex, does he want to go boss?
Oh, that's a great handshake. Completely stops the Poppy. The Poppy Copter comes out as well to make sure there's no re-engage, but with the Antonio TPing bot, that means that there's no way in hell they can go for it. And again, he's free to do this because you just took the top lane as Maxlore, so you're not really worried about that. Yeah,
and for Szygenda, he's happy to just kind of go, cool, well, I'm still going to farm up. I mean, it's not going to make a massive difference. And Wukong, yes, can be a serious threat, but I think getting gold onto Keduii is going to be, or even Jiizuke, getting your late game carries ahead was going to be a much better option for Maxlore. Like, you're not going to be able to abuse the fact that this top tier is down particularly well. As Giants, you're still going to be trying to play for these team fights. Like, the Antonio can't really push out this top wave over that far without having to worry about Skeanz potentially coming in. And with Dragons now kind of being the main focus for both these sides, Wukong needs to be getting on towards Jeskla, making sure he's getting that damage down, but you still got Jactroll who can come in with the Cosmic Radiance.
The Cosmic Radiance is the big cooldown that I'm looking at right now. The ultimate from the Taric is just absolutely huge, and things like the Dazzle can just make it so difficult to really find that that engage, that moment to try and jump onto someone. Great, kind of dissuader, I should say, to try and stop people from getting on top of you. I will say Vitality.Bee happy enough that they did get the first dragon as they got that trade, but at a 1,500 gold lead now coming out here for Giants means they're fairly happy with the current state of the game, and they're starting to make some moves towards this bot side after taking the top lane tier 1. They are trying to make their presence known and make sure that Jeskla cannot become a monster on this Kalista, who, again, 0 and 2. They've done a good job so far, but they need to keep doing it.
Yeah, it's also just kind of worrying about Diplex, but Szygenda,
he loses the stopwatch, but now the cooldowns come in, and now Szygenda needs to be so careful with where he goes from this one. There's going to be good barrels. But again, that's a stopwatch down. Yes, you have got a Triforce, but this isn't great. Now he's going to TP out because he knows that there's a Wukong coming. It will be able to get him out just in time. And you will remember this as the day you almost caught Captain Szygenda.
Yeah, and the fact that that TP now is going to be down for the dragon is huge.
Here we go. There's going to be the ultimate, but they get the Radiance coming out. They're going to be able to try and kill this one on the Jeskla, but he will not go down. So it is going to be the ultimate's kind of burnt right now, but they're going to be able to steal away the Renata, turn that back onto you. It's low health bars, but it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade as Jactroll does go down as well.
Uno mas, one more time. Vitality.Bee trying to see if they can go for it. No wave is here. Advienne clearing it out, but Skeanz is still feeling it.
Yeah, he's still feeling it, but he gets shook away, so they're going to jump there. Diplex trying to make this one work. One more kill would be able to reset it, but they just can't make it happen. Advienne left all alone, and ends up being, at the end of it all, a 2-for-1 trade.
And 2 kills to Jeskla. The shutdown from Jiizuke. You said they needed to keep this Kalista in check. Well, that's the exact opposite of what has just happened. Really good job from Vitality.Bee to try and play her in the side lane. They're evening up the gold. And this is where I was kind of talking about the amount of time that they're spending topside here for Maxlore is not going to help them win the game. They invest so many people onto the top side. Vitality.Bee go for a great dive using that Cosmic Radiance, and yes, you do have the opportunity to TP in onto this bot side, but the damage is already done by the time Jiizuke gets here. There's so many ways to try and reset this the aggro as well, although a little bit unfortunate there, I will say, for the Taric there and the dive. But I mean, again, now you're just rinse and repeat, right? You're 3v2. Vitality.Bee have Skeanz who can just tank this up, and they go for it again.
Keep pushing forward, keep trying to look for it again. These are so close to getting resets there on the bailouts, and it can just make it a complete difference into this fight, but not to be. And again, Vitality.Bee not to be outdone here, and recognizing that Maxlore was going up topside, they had an opportunity to get a numbers advantage, and it really did work out in their favor. So now, have a look at the gold right now. Maxlore's still sitting pretty, but Szygenda, he's a Gangplank, so he's got plenty of cash flash in. With the Dazzle, they're going to have a pretty much exclusive access onto Jiizuke, and a good zoning cannon barrage means there's no real counterplay to that.
Great pick, and now you get to move over towards the dragon. This thing just a couple of seconds. Vitality.Bee find their moment, and we were talking about Szygenda, not being able to move, or at least get that teleport down to the bot side, but he'd already started to move. The Antonio, again, can't push this wave in far on top side, so Szygenda still has the opportunity to try and drift into mid lane. Just nice play coming across from Vitality.Bee, again playing that map state better.
And warming up into this game. It was all Giants. It was all basically that Maxlore kind of coming into this one. They want to make this one work again. They're going to put him back into the bounce house, but they really needed that Ornn ultimate to hit. They do get the flash out of him, but it costs the Wukong flash as well, so not quite able to make that one work. And again, just trying to keep this Gangplank down. We saw how big he got in the last game, but definitely a bit of a nuisance in this game is the Monkey King.
Yeah, it looks like, though, Maxlore should be able to get this Rift-tailed. Vitality.Bee have decided to keep Jeskla on the spot side. They want to go for that instead. You can't really contest the mid lane push at the moment, and Jiizuke may even deny Jeskla the opportunity in the bot tower. So still Giants at least trying to trade up on the map when it comes towards the Rift Tower. But you need to see this gold again going into actual carries. Like, unfortunately for Maxlore, this Wukong can't 1v9 the game.
Well, Jiizuke is going to find Skeanz. He's got the rest of his team coming in. Remember, no flash this time onto the Taric, which means they now got to get fooled onto. So here we go. The Ornn may be trying to go for something. Remember, he just used the Call of the Forged God, though, so no real kind of follow-up on that. Again, it's still a Renata. She needs to be in a fully committed position before she can use that ultimate.
Yeah, Vitality.Bee playing very safe from the bot side. Didn't want to overextend to try and pick off that kill on bot lane. End up backing away the second they see that TP coming through. But again, Diplex gets to shove in mid. He's getting to a point now where he's getting up towards the... Looks like it'll actually be the the Liandry's Anguish for him to try and deal with Ornn on the side lane, so looking to be a major damage dealer in these fights. You've got Szygenda, who's already working up towards that collector as well. He's going to be in a good spot, so overall we're getting to these 2-item spikes very quickly for Vitality.Bee. And with the Dragons 2 already in favor of Vitality.Bee, they should be able to continue to play around these neutral objectives and look to make that the win condition.
And for Vitality.Bee, like you said, having those win conditions, despite Jeskla starting 0-2, he's now 3-2, has the Immortal Shield Bow, moving up towards the Guinsoo's Rage Blade, and his 2-item spike is going to be absolutely massive. But Giants seeing if they could maybe sneak around some of these visions, some of the pets, if you will, as they pop down the Ornn Horn. They flash in immediately, Cyclone as they try and get on the Jeskla. There's a good ultimate from the Taric, but a great shove back means the Kalista is not going to be able to last much longer. She will fall down, but a Stone and Ornn ultimate hits on top of 3 members, and a great abscond of Duck means that you can see now Diplex, never mind, he's deleted. Great use of the handshake there from Advienne to try and get Szygenda out of this fight, but it's all happening on the other side of this one. These health bars are so low, these flashes are being used, and the flick back is working so much. Jiizuke is carrying this fight absolutely for Giants, and they get a clean ace.
That was so well played by Giants. They managed to eke their way around Vitality.Bee in the fight. Now they've got the Rift Herald charge. Now they've got a ton of gold that has just gone into their back pocket. And it's right before that dragon in 2 minutes time as well. That might have been the fight that breaks open this game for Giants.
What a huge swing, and I really want to try and break this one down, because again, they commit so much to Jeskla, and their health bars are so low, but they just refuse to die. And again, getting the mid turret, getting all those kills, getting gold onto this Tristana to try and continually kind of push in that pressure on the bot side is huge.
Yeah, and the big one here is Szygenda not being at the fight as it kicks off. The Antonio was obviously there to start things off. They immediately get onto Jeskla, and even though he gets the Cosmic Radiance, like, not having that survivability there, not having that Kalista there, means it's immediately a 3 versus 5. Like, you can see where Szygenda is not really in this fight. TP does come through from the Sylas to get here, but it's already, like, the damage is done. So they erupted into a 3 versus 5, and it looks relatively good because of Diplex being able to get on towards Jiizuke, but Szygenda decides to go on towards Advienne, and that's where they end up very separated in this fight. So I think if Szygenda had actually ran up into the rest of the crew, maybe he gets that barrel chain that sets it up, but you end up having this kind of like 1-person, 2-person constantly chasing onto Giants, and Jactroll, like, he just doesn't offer anything in this fight once he doesn't have, like, the stun or major healing that he can continuously proc with his auto attack. So just really good job from Giants, and Diplex will get onto Maxlore, but it's kind of more of a tickle than anything else.
I mean, look at Maxlore's build right now, 4-0-6, yet to die in this game. In fairness, either as Advienne has been doing fantastic with those handshakes, but at Death's Dance, he knows what his job is in now. He's gone from being the carry to just being the person who just has to survive, be a nuisance, constantly getting CC, constantly getting onto backsides. And Giants not done with this tournament just yet. I think a lot of people coming in today were saying, look, it's Vitality.Bee, it's all about the LFL, but they are kind of putting a bit of a show on right now and really showing that the Super League has got some more than just heretics. And now we're going to see the Antonio try to get jumped onto here. He's got the Call of the Forge God to maybe make something work here, but he's very, very tanky. There's going to be the ultimate there from the Renata on the back side of this. They will eventually kill him off, but Diplex now onto Advienne. He gets hand shook away. The flick back on the Skeanz right before the Dragon is not the character you want to lose. Right now, the bailout won't be good enough. There's going to be the Cannon Barrage. You steal away an ultimate. Maxlore goes golden, trying to make sure he can get back onto the backside. With that Death Stance, he's doing so much, and that means Keduii feels confident to push forward, feels confident to be the damage dealer, and feels confident to be hot, skipping and jumping all over this fight.
Giants are coming up huge for the Spanish region right now, trying to make sure that Vitality.Bee are going to be very uncomfortable coming into these next few games. And big difference here, Skeanz not getting over the wall. Because of that, the Antonio buys so much time. Skeanz doesn't actually get the easy proc into the wall, and it gives times for Giants to show up. Maxlore, in the thick of things, already gets out the Cosmic Radiance. So by the time you get Keduii here, Jiizuke here, you're in a great spot. Maxlore is causing a bunch of issues. Jiizuke's getting the Unraveled Earth down in the perfect spots, which is great against someone like a Kalista. It's fantastic against someone like Diplex as well. It means they can't actually threaten Keduii, and Keduii and Jiizuke are getting so much damage off because they're safe the entire time.
I mean, again, you lose all your players, but you don't get anything after it. Now we're going to have another fight potentially coming in. This time around, you still have a flash here for the Antonio, so he can maybe get on top of the backside. And I got to give him a big shout out. His knockups have been fantastic. And the fact that he was able to survive so long in that top lane means that, yes, he's 3,000 gold down, but he's a hyper tank. He's going to be able to sit there forever. And now Vitality.Bee, this isn't good for you, because again, Maxlore, the Antonio, they're on tanky champions. Giving them extra stats in a Mountain Dragon is just not what you want to be having.
It's also denying the dragon stacking. Jiizuke outscales Diplex. Keduii outscales Jeskla. The Antonio is going to be able to find these great engages alongside Advienne, who's going to be able to find fantastic bailouts and also the hostile takeovers. Like, this is where now you're starting to see the issues creep in, and especially when you look at like how strong Jiizuke has been at 3,000 gold lead from 6 kills on this Taliyah. Jiizuke is rapidly approaching that Rapidon's death cap, where he's going to become an absolute menace.
Maybe even a Magi Soul Stealer, to be honest with you. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, and if those fights are anything to go by, we can see just how much damage he's able to put out, and it's just not what we've been expecting from Giants. I think coming into today, similar to Zero Tenacity or today, Giants looked a little bit out of sorts. Looked like they knew that there was they knew how they wanted to play the game, but too many voices pulling it in too many different directions. Today, they look coordinated, they look cohesive, and they look like they know how they're going to be able to play these games.
So Giants now want to try and keep up their position. Use Keduii, push in mid, start to establish vision control. It means you can look for picks with Jiizuke, look for picks with Maxlore. Start to get control over side lanes with Jiizuke. Use that Weaver's Wall to your best advantage. And Vitality.Bee, you have people that can match side lanes fairly well. Szygenda, Diplex can do just that, but you never want to end up giving across the opportunity for Maxlore and Jiizuke to find those picks, and that's why they're kind of moving as this 3-man unit, especially when you look at Jeskla taking very long routes towards this top side.
I mean, Giants have full information of this. They got a blue ward on red buff, so they know that everyone from Vitality.Bee is basically here. So they're just covering Jiizuke, saying, look, if you try and go in for something, you try to make something happen, we're going to know about it. And it's very defensive vision coming out here from Vitality.Bee. They don't have Szygenda on a side lane pushing in. He's a 3-item Gangplank. He's going towards his IE, but he just can't really take a side lane as much as he wants to. So right now, it is Giants' games to lose, in my opinion. I feel like they're the ones in control to make sure that, you know, they can come out with a win and again put themselves closer to getting to that knockouts. This is what all of it is. It's all about getting to the playoffs and making sure that you show your region is as good as everyone else's.
And you have to be so careful as Vitality.Bee in this as well, because if you end up in a situation where you overload one side of the map, you overcommit resources, say to dealing with Jiizuke, Keduii will demolish turrets like they're nothing at this stage. So you have to be very careful about how you're using your resources, Vitality.Bee, and it'll be interesting to see now if Giants can try and abuse that. They need to get deeper vision here, which is why Keduii now in a position to push top alongside Jiizuke having control over that top side. Maybe they can now link up to get that vision, but you can see how difficult it is for them to try and push forward when the waves aren't in order.
Again, you're just happy to farm this one up. You would love a Lord Dominic's regards here coming into the next fight. You've got the Ravenous Hydra. Renata Hurricane. There's going to be the Ornn coming out. They're going to try and catch out the Kalista, but a good Dazzling Gleam does mean, though, that the Fate's Call has to be used. So, actually, on the top of this one, Jiizuke taking a 1v1 against Diplex, and this is the scaling you talked about. Jiizuke can just take it. He's 2.5 items with a 10-stack Dark Seal. Diplex can't go toe-to-toe with him.
Yeah, now Jiizuke clears that mid wave. We got Keduii back on, the top wave. Keduii back on the mid wave. He's just going to start pushing this in, threatening that tier 2 as well. The inhibitor turret. That's just the only thing left standing in that mid lane. And all you have to do as Giants is, even if you don't get these towers, just keep pushing them in. Oh, actually, as I say that,
they're looking for Maxlore. Very difficult to make a Diplex TP'd in, but they might put the pressure now onto the Baron, knowing that Maxlore hasn't gone for a reset. He's sitting on a lot of gold that he hasn't been able to use, but without mid lane pressure, very difficult to make this one work here for Vitality.Bee.
I mean, yes, Maxlore hasn't reset, but he's still an item ahead of his counterpart, right? So it's not exactly going to miss out too much. I still think Giants in a good spot here to start pushing forward, and a lot committed there. Diplex now not having his TP means it's a little bit harder for him to match Jiizuke. Antonio is matching Szygenda, and Baron immediately started. You got the reset for Vitality.Bee. This is gone.
This is gone. There's no one around. They can maybe go with a cannon barrage to try and steal it if they get lucky. But yeah, he waited till it got to about 500 HP, maybe even 300, and then took it off. So Baron for Giants. They can reset just before this dragon in 35 seconds, and they can look for a fight themselves.
Yeah, Vitality.Bee trying to trade it for that dragon, see if they can get some pressure and get in towards river, but they should be able to get the mid lane. Jiizuke still pushing in top though, trying to answer for the tier 2. He still has that TP, don't forget. So with Szygenda the only one with teleport on the Vitality.Bee side, he should really reset and try and match this push.
For a fight. Gonna go for a fight. The active bounty's coming up soon here for Vitality.Bee, and they recognize they're gonna be in a little bit of trouble here. We're gonna see flashes burn. Advienne gets away, but a cyclone stops any real engage. But on the backside of this, you're being pincered. It's a 5v5, but you've no idea where to go. Keduii jumps in all by himself. He needs to get himself out of dodge and flashes away. He might still go down. That was a little bit of a weird play from him. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade as Giants still trading up and getting the mid laner.
Keduii thought that he'd get the reset on the jump and get out, but completely misjudging that means you don't have that AD carry for Giants. Jiizuke will need to be the big carry for this one, and honestly, with how strong he is right now, Vitality.Bee giving him as much space as possible.
Oh, he's looking for
the Weaver Wall.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall knocks him up and shuts him down. The Antonio keeps the dragon proc. That means that you not only get the kill, you also get the teleport. And honestly, Vitality.Bee, they're running out of options.
Yeah, I feel like for Vitality.Bee, your time might be coming to a close here. Diplex not being able to really get rolling on this Sylas. Jeskla as well, struggling now that the game is starting to coast into the late game. And honestly, Jiizuke, this Taliyah pick is paying so many dividends. Like, it makes it so difficult for Skeanz, for Diplex, for Jeskla to really play this game. And the value he's getting from these unraveled earths has been absolutely insane. We'll get a replay here where everyone tries to jump on the Maxlore, gets the Cyclone, and gets so much out of Vitality.Bee. And Keduii, we saw him, I don't know, I thought he was trying to kill Szygenda, but Szygenda's so healthy. But keep your eyes on Jiizuke, right? Like, he's getting so much damage off. The unraveled earths are constantly in a position where he's able to focus out members of Vitality.Bee. I just carried this through. In the bottom of your screen, though, base is under pressure.
Ace is under pressure, and it's going to force out the cannon barrage. They get a stolen Weaver's Wall from Diplex, but look, you talked about the Tristana, 3 items now shredding through these turrets. So Vitality.Bee, they're looking for something, but they haven't really gotten it. And look, this Kalista is great if you can get it going, but you're now on parity with the AD carry. You're not really doing as much as you possibly can now. With the flick back, they've caught that AD carry, and now they're dead. No Kalista available. Great knockup from the Antonio, lands on the 2. Yes, you knock back one of the carries, but it does not matter, Skeanz, because you're getting taken off so much more damage. Your base is in tatters. The inhibitors are exposed. And with a couple more seconds left in this Baron push, they're going to be able to get everything they want.
And this is exactly what we wanted to see from Giants. Strong mid-jungle, play around bot, get those early leads, play for team fights, and Vitality.Bee are crumbling.
Vitality.Bee are crumbling as well as their base. It looks like a parity between the two, and there's going to be the next surge going down. Giants still looking to make it into the quarterfinals to go equal 2 for 2. They'll get the Sylas. They'll get everything they possibly want, and Giants are yet to be felled in this tournament. They will continue forward and keep their hopes alive.
And Group A just got real interesting, my friends. With that now 2-2 for Giants and Vitality.Bee, the potential for Zero Tenacity to still weasel their way back into this could be there. This is just blowing open this entire group.
I mean, what a performance, night and day to what we saw. And again, like, Vitality.Bee play next. They play against Zero Tenacity, and we saw how well Zero Tenacity came into game number 1. Zero Tenacity are going to have a fire in their belly. They're going, look, it's not over. We win that. All of a sudden, we just need Vitality.Bee to lose the Unicorns. Not exactly unlikely. And there's a 2 and 4. The minimum they can go for that, and they just have to beat Giants. They get themselves an opportunity.
And I think that Zero Tenacity have just been given the formula. Like, when you look at Vitality.Bee, one of the big things that we've seen from them is how heavily they play around Szygenda to the top lane. Jeskla, oftentimes left alone, could Advienne is trying to go for these roam timers that don't always sync up or work with the way the map state's happening on that bottom side. And that's what we saw punished here a lot from Giants. Like, we got these early plays coming through from Skeanz, but Maxlore was there to try and help out, turn these plays around, abuse the fact that the Vitality.Bee bot lane hasn't been as strong. Keduii and gets a little bit of help. Maxlore becomes huge, and then Jiizuke being able to play through this mid-jungle makes it super easy for Maxlore and for Jiizuke to carry out these fights.
I mean, they used absolutely everything on Jeskla, and even here you're kind of thinking, wow, they've used everything. He's dead, but your health bars are so low with the Gangplank coming, with the Sylas coming. This should be a turnaround, but they just skirt on the edge of dying so often. They're on several hundred HP combined.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Giants got away with this was the big difference maker, right? This is where we really saw the course of this game turn, where Giants were like, Jiizuke is huge, we can play around him. Maxlore doing a good job of consistently kind of weaving in and out with the clone as well. It just felt like Giants got that lease of life that they needed, and now sitting at 2-2, I mean, that's one of the big points of hard work done now for them, taking down the LFL representative.
Yeah, I mean, this again, it kind of reeked of desperation a little bit. Like, yes, you get your man, but it's an Ornn. See how long it took you. See how much resources you had to give, and now you have no ultimates. Literally none. You've absolutely no way of getting out. You're just burning flashes, burning ways of just trying to escape. So it just felt like this was Vitality.Bee just not really having control of this game for the first time, and recognizing they needed to do something. It just wasn't what they needed to do.
And now we'll have to see how both of these teams, Vitality.Bee and Giants, do against Unicorns of Love. Because if Giants are able to take down Unicorns of Love, suddenly they're in a very strong spot, and they'll have to try and keep their eyes on seeing how Vitality do against Unicorns of Love in our last game of the day. Or if UOL beats both, we could still be forced into that interesting tiebreaker scenario. So all to play for now, and UOL almost playing like God's hand in this to see if they can control the fate of some of these regions.
I mean, it comes down to some of the big moments, I think, from both these sides. I think UOL thought maybe, like, okay, we just got a Vitality.Bee later on the day, but I think Giants and I think Zero Tenacity are going to be feeling very, very good. And even Vitality.Bee, they're going to have to bounce back from this, because this was not the expected result. They're now 2-2. And not only are we thinking about maybe they're not going to be able to fight for top 2, you know, or top 1, they're not even fighting for top 2. They're going to have to fight with Giants now. There could be a tiebreaker at the end of the day.
Yep, and I mean, it's looking pretty likely, and especially if Jiizuke is going to put on performances like that, it feels like Giants could actually play upset and suddenly bring it back in this last day of groups at the Amazon EU Masters. 2-2 now for Vitality.Bee and Giants. Like, this group has suddenly got so much more interesting.
It really, really did. But we do believe we have an interview now with the support of Giants, Advienne. Advienne, first of all, congrats on there. And I gotta say, just straight up, that flash handshake level 2 bot side, c'est magnifique, my friend. It was insane. What were the comms like during that moment? Was it as hectic, or was it just you going, yeah, I got this?
No, I just said I can flash, and then I flashed, and then I hit him, and after that, no one even praised me. So I don't know. I'm happy you mentioned it.
We got you, bro. We got you coming into this one. But yeah, again, great work for you guys, obviously, and the tournament is very much still alive for you. So are you guys taking it as a big plan for the tournament, or is it more just like one game at a time?
I mean, we're taking it one game at a time. I know from my last EU Masters where I went to finals, I also started 1-2 in the first week, so I know anything can happen, and I hope that we can just make it into quarters the same way as I did last time.
So how confident are you now? Because obviously you've just taken down the LFL representative. You still have Zero Tenacity and Unicorns of Love still to play. It feels like you guys found your stride today. Are you confident going into that series or that game against UOL, or are you still nervous to see how you can do against them?
I mean, I'm confident. I was confident this game. I'm confident that game. I think we can win. We just have to play good. So if we play good, we'll win the game.
Always good to see. Always just a positive mentality coming into this one here. And I think our final question for this one will be just, you know, obviously looking at the LFL are always on everyone's minds for the ERLs. How do you kind of like compare the styles, or even like the way that they play the game compared to like the Super League or even everyone else, you know, in your own experiences?
Well, I don't think there's styles or whatever. I think every team itself has a different style. Like some players or some teams like to play around top, some teams like to play more around bot. But I don't think the LFL or the LVP has a specific style. I do think in general, LFL teams are quite strong. But as you can see, they can be beaten. So yeah, it's up to anyone.
Oh, thank you so much. And of course, congratulations on this win. We look forward to see you very much later in the day, kind of see if you can continue with that run. But again, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to toss it to a quick break, but don't forget, it is LEC Finals this weekend in Malmo. You got the third place match, then followed up on the Sunday by the finals as VoG, Fnatic, and of course G2 look for the title.